So, did I pass my entrance exam for the conservatory? Coming right up.
Always force you to watch, vlogging with Josephine. Annoying intro that nobody cares about, but yet here we are.
Hi guys, welcome back, and if you're new here, consider subscribing so you don't miss any of the following episodes of this series. So this is video number 3 in the series of why I quit YouTube, though I will say exactly why in the last video. Click the card in the upper right corner to watch the previous videos if you haven't seen those. So previously I talked about my audition at the Royal Conservatory of Ghent. At this point in the story, you find me in the main building of the conservatory, waiting to get the results of the audition. This building also has the longest halls I've ever seen. And at this moment, those long halls weren't what I wanted in my life. In the distance of these long halls, I can make out something that looks like a Harry Potter scene. 4 of the 7 judges are walking towards us. And it seems like it's going in slow motion. It's playing in front of me like it's a movie. So the teacher that wanted to work with me as her student, she passes me by, she looks me dead in the eye, she gives us poker face, and I'm like, shit, I didn't get in. So I enter the room and a lot of people I knew from MD were there. So the head of the music department walks to the front and starts explaining, okay, this is how it's gonna work. I'm gonna call out everyone's name, followed by passed or didn't pass, and afterwards you can go and talk to the teachers behind me. Okay, so they start calling everyone's name. For example, Lucas passed, Cynthia didn't pass. Like, they say everyone's name like that. I hear my boyfriend's name, passed. No matter what would happen to me, I was so happy he got in, because he really deserved to. So I wait and I don't hear my name. And before I know it, I hear Josephine didn't pass, and my world just stops. And he says, before you go, we want you to speak to us afterwards. So come to us, don't leave immediately. We have to tell you something. So I was like, oh Lord, why? Like, it's okay, I know now that I'm bad. You don't need to tell me how bad I am, how horrible my audition went. Can I just go home and cry? It's okay like that, it's fine. To me that was humiliating. Like, I didn't need that in my life. So it's over and I try my best not to cry. Once again, wow, I'm a really sensitive person in case you didn't know this yet. So when the little graduation part is finally done, I walk up to the vocal teacher that wanted me as her student. She said to me that I didn't pass the exam, and they discussed it for a long time because it was a close call. Apparently the reason why it took them an hour to show up at the little graduation part was because her, as well as the teacher from choir and the teacher from solfege, did want to give me a chance, because they said like her solfege part was really good. Most students are really good at their instrument, but their theoretical knowledge is the bare minimum. She is actually good at the theoretic part, but she needs to work on her vocals. So they thought I had potential, my theoretical knowledge was above average, and those 3 teachers actually went to the principal to discuss that I deserved a chance on this. Also, the choir teacher knew that I had the ambition to sing in a choir, like my grandfather who sung bass rondo. I don't know, that's it in Dutch, but I don't know what you call it in English. Like the lowest bass voice you can possibly have. He sang that in the choir of the opera. So those 3 teachers actually went to the principal for me to give me a chance. They said like, okay, she didn't pass, but maybe she can start for a few theoretical courses to prove that she can manage to study here. And meanwhile, she can work on her vocals, and then she can try out for a second entrance exam next year. And so after a while of discussing with the principal, because he didn't really agree with that, after a while he did agree with that, and they gave me that choice. I mean, if someone gives you a chance like that, you're not gonna say, but like, oh, but I don't really deserve it, or the students are not gonna agree with that. You just take that chance. Like, I think anyone would. So did I. So they continued their speech. She said, there is only one condition. We noticed that when you breathe, there is something wrong with your breath support. Like, you do some shocking movement and it just blocks your vocals completely. So the condition is that whoever taught you to sing previously, you can't have vocal lessons with them anymore. You need to quit your previous vocal teachers. She said you can keep the teacher from the MD, but the other ones need to go, especially the pop vocal teacher, because you need to focus on classical vocals, which made sense to me, even though I love pop music still. But they just were trying to tell me, like, if your previous teachers didn't see that issue, then there's definitely something wrong with that. So I dropped the pop singing teacher and I kept my vocal teacher from the MD and the vocal teacher outside of the MD that I had before I auditioned for MD. There's a lot of MDing here, isn't there? So for privacy's sake, but to make it a bit easier, let's call the teacher from the MD Lucas, and we'll call the teacher from outside the MD, the classical teacher, we'll call her Sarah. So I kept Lucas and Sarah, not their real names, but we'll just keep it at that. So I agreed to drop the pop vocal teacher and keep Lucas and Sarah. And the other condition was that I had to see the principal and discuss it again with him. And guys, let me tell you, he was not having it at all. I entered, he let me wait for a while, which is okay. I entered and he was like, "What's your game, young lady?" I was like, "I don't know, I got this chance, so I just want to start." And my dad was with me at that moment, by the way. And he was like, they said that she could join the conservatory for a few theoretical courses and it's already fun that she's kind of in. And he was like, she's not in. The door is closed, she's not in. She can start for a few theoretical courses, but she will have to redo her entrance exam next year. And starting out for a few theoretical courses does not mean that she will have a better chance at passing the second entrance exam. Like, we just want to avoid any drama. So he explained it to me and it made sense, because they just wanted to avoid drama, because they had another student a few years ago who was in the same position as I am in, and he didn't pass the second time, and he made this huge drama, like he told me I was in and I had a chance and now you're kicking me out. And so they wanted to avoid that, which makes sense. The year I spent at the conservatory was one of the most fun years I've ever had, honestly. And I feel like the friends I made there were friends that still stuck around to this day. People were so nice there, although I did feel a little bit of tension from the vocal class, because it makes sense, I got this privilege that they didn't get. Like, they had to work much harder to get in than I did. It's not fair, I get that. But don't get me wrong, the singers were actually really kind to me, even though they probably also felt that I didn't really belong there. I felt some tension, like, you didn't audition the way we did, you got rejected and you still got in. Like, that sort of feeling. And I started feeling a bit guilty for studying there, also because my teacher Sarah from outside MD wasn't having it either, and I don't know why she got so agitated by it. I think she kind of thought to herself, like, I cheered you on so you will get out of your comfort zone, but I didn't mean you were good enough to go to the conservatory. I felt like I was sort of bringing shame to her as a teacher, because my voice wasn't where it should be and I was at the conservatory. And she knew a student there, so she also studied there. I feel like to her it meant I brought shame to her as a vocal teacher. She kind of made me feel that way. So one day I walk into one of her singing classes and she's like, "Well, Josephine, I talked to the students at the conservatory and they are not really thrilled about your arrival. Because as you know, I studied there, I know them, and they're really not that happy that you are there. Like, looking back at it, that was such, I'm sorry for my language, that was such a bitchy thing to do. Because like, you could support me, but you chose to kind of make me feel bad. Like, she knew one student really well, that was her friend. For her to say something like that to me, it only made me more self-conscious. It made me really feel unwelcome there. And I get that. I didn't do the same effort that everyone else did. Like, I got rejected, but on the other hand, it was not what I asked for. I was given this chance, and it's only normal that I grab every chance that I get. Like, how arrogant would it be if someone gave you a chance and you're like, maybe next year. Like, it's so nice that you discussed with the principal for an hour, but I'm just gonna try it out next year. Like, who does that? I was so happy that I was given this chance, but if I would be rejected, I would just be like, that's a shame, it's too bad, but if that's the rules, that's fine. And I will just try out next year. There was a plan after all. Like, I was just grateful. I remained humble, knowing that they made such a huge exception for me. So throughout the year, I'm not gonna lie, I took some singing classes with a teacher there, and it was more coaching, like making my voice free, because I had a lot of stress when it came to singing, and I was just holding myself back from singing. There was a lot of tension in my body that causes me to not be able to sing. My main issue was that in vocal warm-ups I could reach pretty high notes, like I'm talking a C6 for example, eventually D-sharp 6, but in actual arias and songs a G5 was already a struggle. It sounded so harsh and it was so frustrating to me and to all my singing teachers, because they knew it was there and they couldn't get it out and I couldn't get it out. And to this day, we still don't know what's going on with that. Like, we tried the same placement in the songs, but it just wasn't coming out right. But that teacher, to be honest, she helped me so much. I'm sure that if I would have gotten more vocal lessons with her, that she would have helped me so much to grow my voice even more. Her as well as Lucas were the best teachers I ever had, and also the nicest. And she put so much effort in helping me to sing something. Like, because I didn't officially study vocals at the conservatory, I wasn't also allowed to sing and perform in the operas. But she still tried to get me into those. So the vocal group of the conservatory does multiple performances throughout the year. And she was like, maybe you can play a tiny part. Maybe I will just ask, maybe you can. And then later she told me, sorry, I tried to ask them, but they said no. Because if the principal sees you performing, even though he says you didn't get in, we will get in trouble. But then she said, maybe you can operate as a stand-in. Maybe that can work. If someone's ill or something, then you can sing their part. You will just study everything and then sing a part of someone who can't perform that night. Then she apologized because they said no again. And then she was like, okay, maybe not sing, but maybe you can just participate. Like, maybe you can be on stage and also like still act even though you're not singing. Maybe that's possible, like someone in the background more. And then she apologized again and said it had more to do with insurance. The thing was, since I didn't officially study vocals at the conservatory, insurance wouldn't cover it. If something were to happen to me, nothing will ever happen, she said, but legally it has to be okay, and it's not. So anyway, that was actually harsh for me, because it was like, yes, I can do it, I can't. Like, every time it was disappointment after disappointment. And if she would have said from the beginning, you can't sing with us, it would have been fine. Like, don't promise a kid candy and then take it away from him. So the exams passed and I passed everything, but I wasn't happy at all. Like, I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. I didn't feel like I tried my best. I was kind of, especially with solfege, I was kind of like, during the exams, I was like, studying isn't going well, but now I know how to approach it. So in August, I know I can do much better, and that was true. I knew that I could do much better. However, I was hoping to fail so I could do incredibly well in August, but I got 12 out of 20. I was so disappointed that I passed, because now there was no way that I could show him like, you see, I could do it. So I was really disappointed, which is weird. Some students are like, if I have 10 out of 20, that's enough. But I want like 16 and I'm happy. The reason I wasn't happy was because I couldn't improve my mark, and I felt like now everyone's gonna think I suck at solfege, even though I really don't. I just didn't work hard enough like I know I can. So sight reading went horribly. That's where you get a score and you just have to sing it on the spot, just right there. You've never studied it before, you never heard it before, you just have to sing it at that very moment. Also, the judge was super rude to everyone, but also to me. But people walked out that room crying, like really sobbing. The substitute teacher who was there as a judge was a real authority in solfege, and everyone was so excited that he was gonna be there until he started talking. So after I finished my sight reading exam, he turned to me and said, "It's not possible that you are here. It's not possible that they let you in and that you are studying here." But he said it in a way like, "I'm gonna get you kicked out of here." Like, he was actually mad at me, and I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I was just nervous, but I was so sad. That aside for a minute. So the whole year I worked towards my second entrance exam. The conservatory teacher told me how to study my music, to translate it so I understood every word of it so very clear, to attach a certain emotion to every sentence. She would make me color my scores to visually see where I needed a certain feeling. She would make me write down the pronunciation of every word, record every word the way it was supposed to sound, and then listen back to it. I had to look up all the operas of my pieces that I sang, the actual artists, think like, why did they write this? Put myself in the composer's shoes as well as the character's shoes. So let's say, for example, Se il ciel mi divide. That was my work of choice for that year. So for example, I looked up that opera, and it was from Alessandro Nalindi, which isn't very popular. It's not very well known. It was lost somewhere in history. But I did find the original libretto, which is like where they say Act 1, this happens, Act 2, this happens. That libretto was in Italian. A composer can take a libretto and write his own music for that, and then another composer can do the same, and it can be totally different music to the same story. So I found the story, I translated from Italian to Dutch to understand it. It took me so long to translate it, and then I had to kind of find where my aria fitted in there. It took me so long to do that, but I really wanted to understand it completely. Like, the teacher was a very creative, spiritual person, and she taught me a completely different way to look at music. She also told me not to worry about my body too much and the way I was breathing. She told me your body is smarter than you, and it will make sure that you will not ruin it. She also made this huge folder, like a little portfolio for every song, where I would write down everything that inspired me to sing like a certain line of the lyrics or have a certain feeling. She would make me print out a lot of pictures that inspired me to sing that song, aria. If I say song, people will kill me. But anyway, it really helped because I was prepared. I knew every piece I was gonna sing inside out, and I knew that I might have a shot this time. So at the end of that year, I graduated from MD. I got my degree there, and which is a worthless degree, to be honest. You can't really do anything with that kind of degree. If you want to, for example, teach music, you need a conservatory degree. You are nothing with just the degree I got there. But it's nice to have. So at the end of the year, I got my degree at MD. I'm ready for my second entrance exam. But something changed. And if you want to know what, you might want to consider clicking that subscribe button. It's right there. Bye guys, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Okay. Did I pass my entrance exam for the conservatory? In the distance of these long halls, I can make out something that could look like a Harry Potter. She looks me in the eyes, she keeps a poker face, and I'm like, shit, I didn't make it. Like, most students are really good at their instrument, but their solfege is really the theoretical. I can't talk.
It's so warm. Okay, so this camera is still running fine. Okay, where was I?
So the teachers continued this speech. So the teacher continued her speech. There was a wasp there. I was scared.